What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Crimson Desert. Now, this is a rumor. It seems like this person has pretty good insight into the game and into the studio. This is a Korean blog post, and they did a post back in September where they went over, I guess, their thoughts and some initial things on Crimson Desert. Then they kind of did, a recap post, and in this post, there's a couple interesting things. So, the big thing going around is that PlayStation exclusivity thing, right? We were also offered an exclusive contract with conditions such as a ban on Xbox release for a certain period of time from Sony, but we decided to proceed with self-publishing as we judged that self-publishing would yield higher expected profits. And I want to get back to that, but there's a lot of talk of which games this is the closest to. I know internally their chairman said Red Dead Redemption and Legend of Zelda, but also Assassin's Creed and Witcher 3 have also been talked about. And then PlayStation specifically, Sony, they did a kind of a overlook on the game, and they said that the game is pretty similar to Ghost of Tsushima, they felt, and they also feel like this game is going to do extremely good, hence why they offered them the exclusivity contract, okay? And so just kind of talking about it just for a few minutes, in terms of those game comparisons, pretty darn good. Now, you notice a lot of these are these bigger open worlds, this sense of freedom, and I think that's I think the tone of the story, and they talk about there's actually going to be rain and thunder mechanics in this game, and they speculated that reminded Sony of Ghost of Tsushima. So there's some things that are Ghost-esque in this game. The Assassin's Creed thing I think was more about being able to kind of climb or jump, or kind of the parkouring elements, and then Witcher 3, Red Dead, and Zelda also being that creativity, right? That freedom. Those are big games, right? Those are I guess huge games to compare yourself to. And again, I'm not look, Crimson Desert's going to have to be its own thing, but for those games to be the ones that you're kind of shooting for, or you got the inspiration from, I think is pretty cool. We'll have to see the end product, but the game does look pretty darn good. And then the PlayStation thing, very interesting. Interesting kind of almost the behind the scenes of it, right? Because again, it's more PlayStation looked over. I mean, I'm sure everybody does that, right? You get the game, you get to see the game early or whatever, and you'd have that chance to do the offer, and PlayStation thought, and I think that's in one. I mean, you could talk about the console war part to it, and we can in a second, but in terms of the quality of Crimson Desert, PlayStation does tend to go after games that do have high quality. I mean, you look at the Final Fantasies of the world, or Silent Hill 2 remake, which actually was extremely good. Now, maybe that was a question mark for people at some point, but it turned out to be a very good. I honestly believe it was one of the better games of this year. So PlayStation clearly sees something in this game, right? Or at least if this rumor is true, PlayStation sees something in this game that they wanted to lock down. And then even if you believe, I guess, the Black Myth thing, maybe the same thing, right? And what's interesting is self-publishing, they judged that it would yield higher expected profits. See, that's that age-old thing that I've always asked on this channel, and I'd like an answer one day. How does that work, right? PlayStation, do they have to offer, the money, the contract that they give? Does that have to kind of work in place of Xbox? So if you're Crimson Desert, if you're the developers or publisher, right, you're looking at and say, okay, we expect to make $59 million from the Xbox sales. So PlayStation, if you want exclusive, you got to give us something. But normally exclusivity deals tend to be pretty low. Contracts for PlayStation Plus and Game Pass, they tend to be low. I'm talking a couple million, maybe 10, 15, 20 million. So I've just always wondered that, right? Where it's obviously what Sony offered, they thought they could make more than that by putting on Xbox. That's honestly beyond the console war. I'm sure you're going to see a lot of that today online with the attacks and stuff. Beyond all of that, I think it's as simple as that. Sony offered 15 million, and they said 15, we can make 90 on Xbox, right? And I mean, that might not even be that great, but they think that they can do it. You know what I mean? So I just always have wondered something like that, and just the way that that's worded makes me think that happened again here, right? So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.